Number 50, now their average age, it's the Rolling Stones and Let It Bleed. At number 49, Pink Floyd and The Wall. At 48, Blur and A Slice of Park Life.
I'm confused about who's voting now.
It's John, he's just putting out the air.
I'm getting confused.
What an astonishingly great record.
Yeah.
Of course, Damon would be pleased.
Yeah, well,
Ring up and say, you're in the top 50.
do you think that album deserves to be in this particular slot of 48?
Oh, bless him. I think Park Life was a good one.
Okay.
Well, it's a very important
That's what I'm going to say.
Blur's the best, but...
At number 5, What's the Story? Morning Glory from Oasis.
That's really strange, isn't it? That Pink Floyd record sounds like the most modern record we've heard in the entire programme.
I was surprised that OK Computer is there and the Benzes aren't.
Whichever.
And I think Oasis sound good in there, and I think it's a great album. You know, whether it's in the top 100 great albums 10 years from now, I don't know, but it is a great album and deserves at this moment.
Probably won't be, yeah.
No. Justin, you wouldn't agree with that?
God
do you?
bless them,
Well,
John.
the
God
Oasis
bless them
album.
all.
I just think, well, I mean, obviously it's a personal thing, but I think that it's just very unintelligent lyrically, what they do. And
It doesn't have to be, like, pop music has nothing to do with it.
I mean, Gene Vincent, you know, who's, I mean, he's not in the charts, alas, but...
You know, it's a very personal thing. I think standing up and saying I've read one book and that's really great is a very, very bad thing to say to people who you might be influencing.
But how many people, do you think those people are going to go away thinking from the gig saying, I'm only going to read one book?
I think they've had an enormous influence on culture of the 90s.
Yeah, but
and
do people pay any attention to their lyrics, though?
No, but on the other hand, people can be positively affected by great lyrics.
Yeah. I think they're very verbally literate. I think, you know, their interviews are a hoot, and I think out of it comes a genuine voice, whether you like that or not. I think they're fantastic tunes which come from, again, that innate spirit. And I think you're talking about influence on popular culture. Well, if, you know, get up, be positive, go for it, mad for it, it doesn't matter how many books you read. I mean, you know, if you go out, leave a gig with that or a record, and you go out during the day and that's it, and it gets you up and out there, fine. And if they make 27 million from doing that, hey.
I think Radiohead looked like the classic footage.
Yeah,
the footage we saw, you know, that looks totally classic to me already.
Should we move quickly on then? More sizzling beat thrills and more from the top 10 from Alan Freeman.
This is it. Number 4, it's that Radiohead again with the Bends. At number 2, Stone Roses and the Stone Roses, Tony.
Why shouldn't they have been at number 2?
Because there's nothing new, different or anything about them. I understand that they were like a breakthrough for a generation and stuff like that. But if that was supposed to be the seminal influence for Britpop, not because she's here, I would argue that Blur were. You know, they coalesced all these things that were out there and focused them and put them into their record, specifically Park Life, I think, which then opened the gates. And these guys, nice. One record, nice, you know, apparently...
Inspired Oasis, though. Got Oasis.
Yeah, but I mean, Oasis were the product of it. That's where it was going to. They blew it. And Oasis took it a step forward. And they were able to take that step because of them and maybe because of what her old man did, you know. But, I mean, they're number 2, forget it. That's ridiculous. They shouldn't be in there. They should. They have a decent album. Good luck to them. But that's preposterous.
So why do you think people voted them in there?
because it's, hey, a generation thing.
Well, exactly. This tells you who voted. More than anything else, this tells you who voted. Because you could say, where's James Brown live at the Apollo? Well, obviously that audience wasn't voting for it.
Could be number one.
It could be number one, but I think
Let's not anticipate.
I think we know
what number one is going to be. Incidentally, we should point out that those two Beatle tracks are not on Revolver. It's just that undoubtedly you couldn't get the
Same
songs
sessions.
everywhere.
Same sessions.
Yes, right, yeah. And Paperback Writer and Rain were the A and B side of the single that was put out.
What about you, Justine? What are your feelings on it?
I think it's a shame it wasn't the Mondays that are number 2 of New Order personally, but I'm glad to see that people have got a long enough memory to realise that Oasis came from something else. You know, that at least we're doing well on that.
You don't have a fixation about this. You sound like Paul McCartney a lot of the time, you know.
Do I? Oh my God. It's a very frightening thought.